Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the Raider preview week 6. I'm James Gonzalez, chair with James Gonzalez. Find me on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Instagram at Jam Session 89, Facebook, and also Twitter at Jam Pegon or James Gonzalez. Uh, it's been a week. It's been hard to digest, hard to fathom what's going on. I think it's better we just break it down from, I guess, Friday on. Yeah, Friday on. So there was the first issue with Jon Gruden with his email about uh, NFLPA director Diamore Smith 2011 email. Uh, it was a racist email, and he went on to say, Gruden went on to say he was apologized, and I thought, that would be all. Then Sunday came the game against the Bears, and the Raiders just didn't have anything offensively going, and for that, the defense had to be on the field a lot, and the Raiders ended up losing 20-9. They had a 3-point lead in the first quarter, then the Bears scored 14. Raiders were shut out until the fourth, where the Bears and the Raiders exchanged 6 points each. The Raiders went to 3-2. The Bears also 3-2. Justin Fields was 12 for 20, 111 yards and one touchdown pass. Hubert for the Bears rushing 18 carries and 75 yards. Mooney, who got hurt in the game for the Bears, 3 receptions for 35 yards. For the Raiders, offensively, Derek Carr, he was 22 for 35, 206 yards and 1 interception. Josh Jacobs, 15 carries, 48 yards and 1 touchdown. Hunter Renfrow led receivers with 6 receptions and 56 yards. And then Monday came up, and that's when everything, hit the fan pretty much. Monday afternoon, it was reported by the New York Times that the NFL was in possession of several other emails that Gruden wrote. He called the commissioner of the NFL, Roger Goodell, a homophobic name that starts with the F. He criticized female officials, bemoaned the fact that the St. Louis Rams drafted an openly gay player, which was Michael Sam back in 2014, and then he was critical of NFL players kneeling during the national anthem. And Gruden also changed emails with Bruce Allen, the former president of the Washington football team, and other men that included women wearing bikini bottoms, including a photo of 2 Washington cheerleaders. That made Gruden resign. I think he would have been likely fired by the Raiders, by Mark Davis, and now Gruden will forfeit the rest of his money from his historic 10-year, $100 million deal in 2018 when he signed with the Raiders. Oakland and Las Vegas Raiders during his time was 22-31. Remember, he was the coach from 1998 to 01 till Al Davis traded him to the Bucks. And, of course, the Raiders have always been on the side of doing what's right and being what's right. And, again, they come out right when one of theirs does wrong, right? And it's just been a hard week, to say the least, because that's the only thing going in the news. Nothing about the upcoming game in Denver, nothing about the injury reports, anything like that. It's just been strictly, Gruden news. And but there's going to be more to this, I believe. And the NFL, Mark Davis, the owner of the Raiders, thinks that the NFL's out to get him. And you know the history between uh, the Raiders and the NFL with Al Davis. You could just look that up, and there's been an ESPN, what, 30 for 30 about that. So, yeah, check that out. But there's more emails maybe to be brought out from the Bruce Allen Washington football team. As I said, Mark Davis, the only thing he really said, he had really no comment, just saying, ask the NFL, they have all the answers to the emails and everything else. So that's been it, really. Derek Carr of the Raiders, the quarterback, of course, was saying, um, I think there's going to be a time where you have to open up with all NFL front offices and check everybody's emails. You know, Coach Gruden can be the only one he mentioned. And he also mentioned, he showed his religious side, saying he loved loved Gruden, but hate what he did, basically. But he said you got to open everything up. So, but the NFL hasn't. There hasn't been any reports of, other research, other things being done. Um, so that's a little what Carr is saying that should be done. It's not, and I don't know if it'll ever happen. So in steps in the new intern coach, Rich Bisaccia. He was the special teams coordinator, I believe, and I do want to mention this, as he was talking about what happened. He was a member of Coach Gruden's coaching staff, and he learned a lot from him. But Mike Mayock was the first to address what was going on and gave a history of the Raiders, saying they were first in being, again, what I was saying, basically, being what's right, doing what's right, hiring when no one else would, um, blacks and Latinos and women when you think of Amy Trask. And it was cool hearing Mike Mayock, the GM, mention that. So, again, Rich Bisaccia, now the intern head coach, meaning Coach Greg Olson, the offense coordinator, he'll be calling the plays. Normally that wasn't the case. It was more Gruden calling plays, and Olson would have suggestions. There was a tier, and Gruden was here, and everybody else was down here when it came to coaching. So now everybody has their own place. You still have the defensive coordinator, Gus Bradley, who's doing, I think, an okay job considering what the Raiders were the last, 4 years of defense. He's been great with that. So the next game here in Week 6 in Denver against the Broncos, they lost last week to also go to 3-2. Tied with the Raiders for second there, even though the Raiders aren't third. But everybody right now is looking up at the Chargers at 4-1. Anyway, the Steelers defeat the Broncos 27-19. Cortland Sutton had a big game with 7 carries and 120 yards receiving and 1 touchdown. Teddy Bridgewater was okay. He did throw a pick, but threw 2 touchdowns. He threw for 288 yards. The big question is Melvin Gordon did get injured. And Tim Patrick, he's one of their tight ends. He had 89 yards receiving as well. But with Melvin Gordon there, as we'll check out the injury report here, first with the Raiders, there were some questions at defensive tackle. Jonathan Hankins is doubtful, so he'll probably be out. Quentin Jefferson the other side of the defensive tackle is questionable. Uh, Everybody else seems to be good to go. Uh, just some guys took days off just for rest. Other guys, well, one in particular, Carl Naspet, took a personal day on Wednesday, I think, to evaluate what's going on. If you recall, he's the first openly gay NFL player on the Raiders, and I can see why he took a day off. But you know, it was definitely some type of timing on his part for sure to do that. Um, just more attention being put on, but sometimes uh, you can take that day off and come back better. So the Broncos have 3 questionable players ahead of Sunday's game. Safety Kareem Jackson, who's been a Bronco seems like forever. Melvin Gordon III has a hip issue, and Aaron Patrick, the linebacker, has an ankle injury. Mike Ford for the Broncos, a corner, is already out. So we'll see about the other 3 that are questionable. Those are big pieces in that 2 for the defense. And then Melvin Gordon, who's been having a resurgence of a season. Remember, he did pretty well a couple years with the Chargers and then got hurt and eventually left the Chargers. And to bring up some history here, the Raiders last year swept the Broncos. One game was close in Vegas. The other was a finale in 2020, which the Raiders won 32-31, I believe, in Denver. And speaking of Denver, Friday night they put Mike Shanahan in the Hall of Fame, but in the Ring of Fame for the Denver Broncos, as he was a Hall of Famer this summer. If you remember Mike Shanahan, for the people old enough, I guess, he was a head coach of the Raiders back in 88, 89, all of 88, and then I think 4 games into 89, Al Davis fired him. And I think it was Rod Martin or somebody else mentioned at that time, or Greg Townsend, I don't remember who, but he was saying Mike Shanahan took the Raiders from that rough and tugged team to a finesse team, so softer. Now, Shanahan's firing led to the first head coach of African American descent, Al Davis, being hired, or I'm sorry, not Al Davis hired Art Shell. So there's a little connection right there with the Raiders and the Broncos. And Mike Shanahan always had pretty much what Marty Schottenheimer had, where it was Raider week and you win at all cost. So it would be great to see how this Raider team comes out after what's been going on all this week. Will they play for themselves, or will they just fall apart the rest of the season? I can honestly see both, where, there's just no fight, or it's just freedom, where, hey, they believe in the new intern coach, Rich Bisaccia, and they really respect him, and they really like the way he gets guys fired up, or they won't gravitate toward him and the rest of the staff and rebel. I really don't know. All I can hope the Raiders get the win on Mile High this week, week 6, and go to 4-2. Again, it's been a crazy week, and you just want to see a win. You just want to see a win. And hopefully Raiders get that. And we can move on, honestly. So Sunday, we'll see how it goes. But if you like what you heard, seen, please follow me on Instagram at Jam Session 89, on YouTube. Go to The Chair with James, and then Facebook, my name, James Gonzalez, and then Twitter at jam_p_gon. So take care, folks, and Raider Nation. We'll see what happens. The Raiders. Bye.